with CBC News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Premier Ford. We've seen this data that shows more than a positivity rate of more than 10% in certain neighborhoods in Toronto. That's an alarmingly high positivity rate, and these are neighborhoods in which there's a large number of people on low incomes and people of color. And at least one of the neighborhoods is right in your riding.
That's right.
Have you seen this data, and what should be done to address this issue?
Well, I did see the data probably about a couple hours ago. They showed me the data, and you're 100% correct. It's in the certain areas, and one being in my area. And that's where we have to focus on. We go out there, we put the mobile testing units up, we get more advertising within those communities, and no matter if it's the mainstream media or if it's the ethnic media, we're still pumping millions and millions of dollars to educate the people. But I'd like to hand that over to Dr. Yaffe if I could. Thank you.
I haven't actually seen the data myself. I've read the article in the paper. That is very concerning. Those rates are high. And those are neighborhoods and areas that we already knew were at increased risk based on other data. So in terms of obviously mobile testing clinics, increasing access to testing, which is already occurring, but also we are going to continue to work with Toronto Public Health on how to reach those populations more proactively. In addition to all the education, social marketing, and so on, and working with the ethnic media, I think the case follow-up there has to be prioritized. I know that Toronto Public Health has cut back on contact management, but perhaps in those areas, that's an area where it should be prioritized, as well as the long-term care facilities and other congregate settings, because we have to determine where these people are getting their infections. And also in terms of offering voluntary isolation facilities for cases if they feel that they are in a household where they cannot properly self-isolate, which may be the case in a multi-generational home where they may be quite crowded. So I think there are extra strategies that can be and are being implemented and need to be strengthened, and we'll continue to work with Toronto Public Health on those.
Follow-up.
And back to Premier Ford, back to this question about Thanksgiving. With respect, sir, I think your answers to the questions from two different reporters were slightly different. So could you clarify, how many people are you going to have over for Thanksgiving? Are you going to have anybody who does not live with you over for Thanksgiving dinner?
No, so can I confirm that when I call you back, or I'll be back this afternoon? To be very frank, I don't get even a chance to even talk to my family. I'm here at my office till midnight, but I'll find out the arrangements. All I know is not going to be more than 10. It'll be within our household, and that's what I've been telling everyone. We have to just stay within our households. It's about as clear as anything. As I said the other day, just tighten it up. Stay within your households. We can get through this. We can get through this Thanksgiving. I know it might be tough on some people, but we will get through this.
Okay, this will be the last question. Your final question comes from Ryan Tamilty with National Post. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Premier, you've talked about this a little bit before, but I understand that getting reagent for the Roche testing machines has been a particular challenge for the province. Mm-hmm. I understand the federal government has a fair supply of more generic reagent. I'm wondering if you've looked at using that, if you have any concerns about having the proprietary system with Roche?
Yeah. Before I hand it to Matt Anderson, I did have a conversation, probably numerous conversations with Ronnie Miller, the CEO of Roche. I know the Deputy Prime Minister had reached out to the overall CEO worldwide in Germany there. There's a worldwide shortage of reagent, and I'm going to pass it over to Matt because he can explain it a lot better than I can.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, and thank you, Premier. The only things I would add is directly to your question, we call it reagent. That's kind of short form. In fact, what it is a whole kit It is proprietary to these particular machines. These machines are world-class machines. They're excellent. The challenge, of course, is that everybody knows that they're world-class machines, hence why we are now in a global shortage for the entire kit, not just the reagent. So we can't actually substitute it. I can confirm the Premier has gotten me on the call with the head of Roche, I believe on a Saturday. I believe again on a Sunday. He absolutely is seized of this. I'm doing everything we can to see if we can get more supply into Canada and into Ontario. And that's sort of where we're at. We're not able to sort of replace this proprietary kit. Thank you.
Follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering too, though, are you considering going with other testing machines that aren't Roche so that you could use some of this generic reagent that the federal government seems to have in ample supply?
Great. Thank you very much for the question. So short answer is yes. In fact, we've been looking to diversify the equipment that is on our network. We have a little over 120 different analyzers and machines on our network currently. The challenge is it's not quite so easy to say, well, we're just going to move away from these. They are very high process machines, difficult to meet with other providers. However, we are working with a number of wonderful providers who are looking at getting us some more equipment. In fact, we're close to bringing on some more equipment from a different vendor, probably in the next 4 weeks or so, 4 to 6 weeks, which would bring with it the capabilities in around 25,000 additional tests per day. So we do look at diversifying. I would also add for any of you who have ever worked with a computer system before, as you've heard, all of our team members in the labs are working 24/7 to bring this thing to increase capacity and to keep the flow. Difficult at that time to start to swap out pieces of equipment, even adding pieces of equipment. You recognize that training would be involved in other things. So while we're absolutely committed to doing that, committed to diversification, and committed to bring on more capacity, there are some just practical challenges to bringing that on side that we're working through today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
What I try to do with these murals is like try to say something so it sparks conversation. But at the same time, through those conversations, we could do something.
Graffiti itself is something that's typically frowned upon and viewed as illegal, but graffiti, it's an art form, does have a lot of power when used in a positive manner.
Murals are a way to ensure that there's a larger diversity of voices that are present in our public streets. One of the things that attracted me to mural painting was the way
What I try to do with these murals is like try to say something so it sparks conversation. But at the same time, through those conversations, we could do something.
Graffiti itself is something that's typically frowned upon and viewed as illegal, but graffiti, it's an art form, does have a lot of power when used in a positive manner.
murals are a way to ensure that there's a larger diversity of voices that are present in our public streets. One of the things that attracted me to mural painting was the way that it allowed me to use my voice in the public realm and to start conversations with people that I wouldn't normally cross paths with. So even in the process of